Welcome back to the second episode of One or Another. Today we talk dry gin. One and another. This is the first category. We're talking about gin quite a lot at the moment. On the first episode, please, if you didn't see it, just link below. We will talk about how to make the drinks, but especially we will talk about how the spirit composition is actually formed. Dry gin, it's very low sugar. All the sugars has to be natural from the botanicals that they distill to actually make the liquid. We have two different gins over here today that we're gonna talk about it. They're both, in my opinion, pretty tasty. We're starting probably talking about Monkey 47. This is a little gem I discovered a long time ago when I was living in Paris, and I fell in love immediately. Comes from the Black Forest of Germany. The name Monkey 47. 47 is because it's composed by 47 botanicals. There's a lot of history at the end, so please read all this kind of informations because you will learn so much about the liquid. I would like to examine it and taste it with you, so to give you some notes to make some cocktails. I explained last time how to taste the spirit, so please check out our first video. Oh, lovely, like light citrus. I can taste lemon peels for sure. I can taste like pine. Very strong on forest botanical. It makes total sense. Give a little first taste. A lot of crazy aromas. Obviously juniper is there. If not, wouldn't be called gin. There's also a lot of cedar. Kind of a lot of woody notes and this wonderful dry citrus that comes through. Absolutely phenomenal. What I like it also, it's very light. Like when you taste sometimes spirit or gin, we call it the legs. And in this case, there's a very small amount of legs, which just means that the product or the liquid, it's not without sugar. Let's move with the second, much more local. Those guys are a very good friend of the bar, very good friend of ours. The first time I actually smell it, I was like, it really reminds me of Monkey 47. And that's why I choose those two combinations together today. The Dillon's Dry Gin number 7, it's because it's got 7 botanicals into it. So you see the huge difference, 47 against 7. Complexity that comes from, a very different map flavors of botanicals against a very simple recipe, but still very, strong on efficiency. But also, the beauty is that this is made from 100% Canadian rye, which is, we will talk about rye a lot when we will talk about obviously the rye category, which is coming soon. And we're gonna, but the beauty of rye is there's a lot of spiciness into it. There's a lot of dry spice that comes straight from the grain. I'm gonna put a little bit, and let's go with the tasting. That's not a little bit, it's a lot of gin. So immediately on the nose, much less sharp of our Monkey 47. There's much more orange. Funny enough, I believe one of the 7, actually without believing, I know that one of the 7 botanical is orange peel. Coriander for sure, I can smell the coriander. More floral, less herbaceous, and much more simple. You can see all the category of London dry gin. There's not really sugar. It's a great drink it's a great spirit, for instance, to get if you want to taste a martini, a spirit-forward drink. I would say that I have this concept that everything is mixable. The most important thing that you understand about the balance of one or the other. I'm gonna give a second sip just to make sure my palate now got used to all the aromas, so I could actually taste better. I can also feel some floral notes here. I would say there in the Monkey 47, there's a lot of dry notes that comes from more like a pine cedar. When here you got more dry fruit, dry flower, sorry. I would say like lavender is one of those for sure. Yeah, juniper, orange peel, lemon peel, coriander, cardamom, angelica, orris, and oak. I think it came out like about a month or 2 months ago. Highly recommended for people that just started drinking gin. I believe it's very appropriate for new gin lovers or people that have never discovered gin before. So we talk about the 2 different products. We talk about the dry gin category, and now it's time to make some drinks. Let's go. Come on. We finally arrived to the bar, but today we're gonna make a drink with our Dillon's Dry Gin 7. We're gonna make a martini a bit different than normal. It's gonna be, I would say, a bit on the savory side, so I wouldn't call it, actually I would call it a kind of a dirty martini. In fact, the drink's name is actually Dirty Number 7. The reason why we call it dirty martinis is because normally in a dirty martinis, there's something called the olive brine that makes it dirty, that makes it savory. First and foremost, what do you need to make it? You will need a strainer, you will need a jigger, you will need something to pick the ice because you don't want to pick the ice with your hands. So when I make martinis, the first thing I make sure is that, of course, I got all the ingredients there, but second, that I have a nice frozen glass. And I always think temperature and consistency are the two main things. And of course, a lot of smell that coming through, the top notes are very important. So I highly recommend that even if you're home, just put this one inside the freezer. We're starting from our lemon pickle, which is we're gonna go only for 1/4 of an ounce. We got the kombu brine, which is we're gonna go for 1/4 of ounce. Then we're gonna use our vermouth blend, 1/2 ounce. Then we're gonna move on with our gin number 7. And we're gonna go, because it's gonna be a kind of a big drink or like there's a lot of aromas, we're gonna go with 1 3/4. So we got all the ingredients inside our vessel, cold vessel. And now we're gonna pick some ice. Nice and large cubes, slow dilution. I'm gonna place the first 6 there, and then we're gonna slowly rotating the martini. Now, this is a very important part of the dilution. We're obviously starting a dilution, we're chilling the drink, and more than anything, we're incorporating more liquid into it, which is will give us the final balance. A lot of people always ask how long should I stir a martini? I would say around 15 to 20 seconds should be the kind of right amount. But again, there's one beautiful thing about drinks, especially about stirred drinks, that you can really control the final flavor while you're stirring it. As for instance, on this martini, as you can see, I'm stirring a bit longer than normally. Why? Because I put some lemon pickle in there. There's also a brine. The gin, it's a pretty strong gin. Our martini is now ready. Gonna cap it over here. Of course, a martini cap. Make sure that there's not any pieces of ice inside. And then we're gonna start the pouring. And while we're pouring, we're also gonna zest the actual liquid. So I like to do this in a very stylistic way. And it's basically keeping the hand steady while the liquid goes down and the hands goes up. And with the zest, we're just gonna zest all around. So I like to serve this one with an ice cube. And to finish it off, a lemon zest. Now that the drink is ready, we're gonna garnish it. And how we're gonna garnish it? This drink, as I said, is a twist of a dirty martini. So the idea was to make an air on your kind of mouthfeel. The idea is very simple, is to use soy lecithin, which is a molecular compound that creates this kind of foaming. And all we have to do is scoop it out and put it in on top of the drink. This air is composed by olive brine, which will give you the sense of drinking. So we're gonna scoop it on top, just like a cloud. So it's time for you to enjoy the dirty number 7. Cloudy. Okay, it's time for some monkey business. Twist of Martinez, which is probably my favorite drink of all the time. We're starting with some modifiers that will make this composition work. Starting with some sweet vermouth. I really like Cocchi di Torino. It's nice on the sweet side, which is perfect for this drink. We're gonna go 3/4. Normally, if you have a picture of what Martinez is, it's basically a kind of a Manhattan style, but with a touch of orange over, for instance, maraschino. We're gonna switch that, and we're gonna use, instead of orange, we're gonna use white cacao. We're gonna go only 1 bar spoon. Then we're gonna move on with something a bit drier, but very aromatic. This is it's called Strega. It makes amazing spritz, but also it's an incredible modifier based on vanilla and saffron. And again, we're gonna go very, very little, only 1 teaspoon. Then we're gonna add a little bit of citric composition with sweeter. Nettle tea. We'll do it in a house, and please, above here, if you wanna know the recipe, we'll show you how to make it. And we're gonna go 1/4. It's a cordial style, so we'll add a little bit of depth. And also a no-alcoholic modifier that sometimes it works pretty well on cocktails. Now, normally there's a bitterness into a Martinez, orange bitters, Angostura bitters. Well, I'm gonna use Amaro Lucano as a bitter agent. And again, I'm gonna go only 1 bar spoon. And then we're gonna move on with our main character, Monkey 47. Lots of aromatics into it. And we're gonna go 1 1/4. So a lot of ingredients, as you can see, but you know, the idea is to replicate and modify one of the most incredible drinks ever made. Très bon. I'm gonna add some ice and start the dilution process. I always like to make sure that the actual volume of the ice is superior of the volume of the liquid on the bottom. And we start stirring. We're gonna accentuate the dilution. The flavors will open up. And of course, temperature. I'm gonna add a bit more cubes of ice. This beautiful golden color. Then it's time to serve it. First and foremost, Hawthorne strainer. Martinez normally serves straight up. This one has to be on a sweeter version, so I like to serve mine with a nice chunk of ice and pour it. There's a lot of room for aromas, so that's why over here I have a little atomizer. Inside here, there's some peaty whiskey. And all I want to do, especially for those vessels that when people drinking it, it will immerse into the drink. I like to spray this around. And this is a real business. So enjoy the monkey business.